If you master seamless execution, you will be able to work effortlessly. And in this guide, you'll learn the deep principles behind effortless work. These are not some quick productivity tricks. These are the deep principles which will have the meaningful impact. So I recommend you to grab a pen and paper. The first step is to rewire your internal landscape. What you need to know is that true effortlessness in work arises from a recalibration of our fundamental relationship with work and resistance. Geniuses understood that much of the hard work comes from mental resistance before starting. With this logic, we can understand that if we conquer the work before physically starting, the actual execution will feel like following a pre-written script. So to do this, you need to engage in a sophisticated form of psychological preparation. You need to visualize the challenges and emotionally detach from the potential negative outcomes. This isn't mere positive thinking. It's a deep rational expectance of difficulty coupled with a pre-visualization of effective action. So before beginning a complex project, dedicate 10 to 15 minutes to deep mental rehearsal. Close your eyes and vividly imagine yourself completing each challenging phase of the work. Feel the focus, the problem solving, the momentum. Crucially, also mentally acknowledge potential obstacles or the moments of difficulty and calmly rehearse how you would overcome them. Finally, cultivate a feeling of calm acceptance for the effort required. By deeply imprinting this successful, prepared mental pathway, your brain perceives the actual work as familiar, making the start and continuation feel effortless. It's truly liberating. The next step is to completely align your mind with the work's frequency. To truly crave the work, you need to deliberately prepare your mind to receive and process the work. This will consciously activate the neural pathways and the knowledge structures that are relevant to the task at hand. It's like warming up a complex machine, ensuring all the systems are engaged and ready, which leads to reducing friction and hesitation at the outset. This priming makes the work feel like stepping into a prepared mental environment, rather than starting from a cold state. To take the true advantage of this power, I recommend you that before starting a deep work session, spend 5 minutes performing a cognitive priming exercise. You should quickly review key concepts, relevant previous work, or inspiring insights related to your work. The goal is to flood your short-term memory and conscious awareness with relevant information and states to effectively tune your brain to the task's frequency. When you then begin the actual work, your mind will be already engaged and responsive, which removes the initial friction and makes the sustained effort feel natural and aligned. The feeling of naturally getting into the zone is deeply satisfying. Now that you've learned the basics, it's time to get into the deeper stuff. You need to learn the architecture of sustainable effort. This is beyond the linear effort. You need to understand that effortless breakthrough work involves structuring not just the tasks, but the entire cycles of creation and discovery, which is critical. To do this, you need to master the integrated learning and application. Geniuses didn't separate learning from doing. They integrated them seamlessly. Every act of work was an act of learning, and every piece of new knowledge was immediately considered for its application. This relationship meant that effort invested in one area, such as studying or learning, simultaneously fueled the progress in applying it to the project. So for any piece of new information you learn or a skill you acquire, immediately ask, how can I apply this to my current most valuable work? You should actively seek out the immediate connection. Then, dedicate a small, focused block of time, such as 15 minutes, to directly applying that new knowledge or skill to your valuable task. I recommend you to practice it, because this immediate loop closure reinforces learning and deepens your understanding, which naturally turns theoretical knowledge into practical momentum and makes your work highly purposeful and synergetic. The feeling of seeing new knowledge instantly translate into tangible progress is incredibly energizing. By the way, if you need advanced personalized help, you can check the link in the comments. If you want to take this knowledge one step further, the next principle is crucial because it will unlock your new capabilities. I'll show you how you can make the most challenging tasks feel like a natural unfolding. The next principle might not be as fancy as the last ones, but it's deeply impactful and often reminds me the power of perception. This principle goes beyond mere acceptance of difficulty. It's an active embrace and even love for the challenges in the work. Whenever you feel frustration, pause. Instead of allowing resistance to build, you should consciously reframe the challenge. Ask yourself, how is this difficulty actually serving my growth? What unique insight or strength is this demanding from me? If I embrace this obstacle fully, what deeper understanding or skill will I gain? You should actively choose to see the difficulty not as an enemy, but as a crucial ally in your journey towards breakthroughs. This shift in perspective will transform the feeling of hard into a feeling of meaningful, and make the effort feel less like a struggle and more like a personal evaluation. The next principle is the hardest one, which some of you might disagree with, but I've used it, tested it, and it works. It's called the depletion and replenishment cycle. Dedicate a substantial block of time, such as 3 to 4 hours, to fully immerse yourself in your most valuable work. To push your cognitive boundaries until you feel genuinely yet satisfyingly exhausted. Do not stop at the first sign of the fatigue. Maintain your focus. Don't reduce the quality. Once you've reached this state of optimal exhaustion, then deliberately shift into a period of complete guilt-free mental replenishment, such as restorative sleep or physical activity.